Harry was devastated when his beloved daughter Eva suddenly disappeared during her solo trip to Asia. Harry did everything he could to find his daughter, but after years of dedicating his life to finding her, he decided to give up. But then, nearly a decade after her disappearance, Harry received an anonymous letter that would reveal a shocking truth about Eva. That letter would turn Harry's life upside down again. The envelope with the letter in it was heavy like a rock. A decade is a long time, so a letter regarding his daughter's missing in those years surely had a lot to say. All these pages took Harry some time to read, and tears were covering his cheeks when he finished reading. This can't be true, he thought. Harry didn't know what to say, what to think, or what to do after reading the letter. Nothing about it was usual, and he wondered whether he'd be better off not knowing the truth. This letter added even more mystery to his daughter's missing. Harry was forced to make a decision. Will he again pursue his search or ignore this letter? After receiving the letter and being completely shaken by it, Harry considered it a clear sign of life after all these years. He prayed for something like this for years, and now that it has arrived, Harry is lost for words. But who sent the letter, and what did it say? Would Harry ever be reunited with his daughter again? If so, she wouldn't be the same if this letter was telling the truth. Before we start our story, smash the like button, make sure to subscribe, and hit the notifications bell so you won't miss any new stories. For Harry, it was just another Wednesday. It was his day off, which he enjoyed with a cup of coffee and a newspaper. He moved on from the missing and likely death of his daughter a decade ago, although he still thinks about it on a daily basis. He never got any closure, but little did he know, something better was around the corner. Harry hears a knock at the door. It's the mailman. Harry is quite surprised. Usually, the mailman doesn't deliver any mail on Wednesday, let alone knock on the door. Harry has a strange feeling about it, and this was just the beginning of it all. The mailman dropped off an enormous envelope, completely filled. He thanks the mailman and goes inside to read the letter. As we all know, it was a letter that would change his life. These were the last moments of peace for poor Harry. The letter came from an anonymous sender. It was written in Harry's language. However, the paper seemed old, and the words were barely readable. The anonymous sender tells Harry that his daughter is still alive as of now, but that her destiny would be in his hands. Harry can barely breathe. He doesn't what is happening to him. Yet, he's sure to keep on reading. He wants to know more, as this is the first sign of his daughter in over 10 years. The location of his daughter is very precisely described, and there's a somewhat recent photo added to the letter. Everything seemed to be trustworthy. But the letter takes a turn. It seemed friendly at first, but now it has become more hostile. It is said that Harry's daughter is still alive and is living with them against her will. She can only be liberated if all of their demands are met. Harry is told to read the rest of the letter with great attention, as many instructions will follow. Harry just wanted his daughter back. He feels as if he's losing his mind after reading about his daughter. He quickly grabs a glass of water and tries to calm himself. He then grabs the letter again and keeps on reading. The first instruction would follow quite soon. You can't tell anyone. The anonymous sender is very clear about this liberation. No one can know. He can't even tell people that his daughter is still alive, or that he received a letter. Harry isn't troubled by this, as he is willing to do anything for his daughter. He kept on reading for the second instruction, which turned out to be a shocking one. Harry has to call from a certain payphone to a certain number. He has to say a code word, Iris, after his daughter. Many questions occur to Harry. How did they know this exact payphone? He knew the location, and they were exactly right about it. What else did they know about him? Without hesitation, and without reading an extra word of the instructions, Harry leaves right away. He calls right away. For 2 minutes, he just hears a tone, and nothing more. He's losing his patience when someone finally picks up. He doesn't hear anyone, then says, "Iris." But no one answers him. The lines got cut, and they didn't answer when he called back. Harry leaves the phone booth feeling strange, almost as if he's watched. When he looks around, he does see multiple people staring at him. But at this point, they can stare however they like. Harry is one step closer to the possible liberation of his beloved daughter. Now that Harry followed up on this instruction, he hurries to get back to the letter. Based on the thickness of the letter, he fears much more instructions, but he remains hopeful. Little did he know, his positive energy was about to be rewarded. The next part of the letter was from his daughter herself. Harry is very moved by reading Iris's words. She starts by apologizing for her disappearance. Harry can't stop himself from crying, something he hadn't done for years. Iris quickly gets to the point, though. There's a new instruction to follow up, and this one would demand even more of Harry. Iris tells him how she's forced to ask him to pay a large sum of money. It's practically all he has. What was he to do? If it was a scam, if they didn't hold up on their end of the bargain, he could forget about retiring. But then again, if they did, he'd have his daughter back. Harry made up his mind. Harry decides to transfer the money. He couldn't bear the idea of not taking his chances for the possible return of his daughter. He has to rush to the bank to transfer the money by the end of the day. He quickly returned to the letter. No more kind words of his daughter. Only more demands were awaiting him. But the anonymous writer tells him to wait till the next day. The next day. "I can't wait any longer," says Harry. But it didn't take him long to resign himself, as this was his only chance. Well, one thing was for certain. This would be a long night. After a sleepless night, Harry starts reading again right after dawn. It says he should be receiving a new letter very soon, only if he transferred the money. For the first time in hours, Harry feels relieved. The waiting game started. Hopefully, the mailman wouldn't take too long. About an hour later, the second letter comes in. It's clearly a much shorter letter and one of a very different kind of paper. It's printed, and it only shows some numbers. Then Harry gets it. They are GPS coordinates. Harry can't help but cheer. Would this be it? Before he takes off to find the location of the GPS coordinates, he gets back to the first letter. The anonymous writer is very strict about the instructions. He has to come alone at a specific time in his own car. Looking back, the place of the coordinates was nothing but a trap. Harry gets in the car right away. He takes both letters and is about to start his car. Then, for some reason, he decides to keep on reading the first letter. He wasn't allowed to do this, as he had to finish the instructions before reading the rest of the letter. He was truly disturbed by what he should have read after returning from the GPS location, because the anonymous writer wrote more instructions for Harry after his return. Harry was shocked. He expected to return with his daughter, not with empty promises. He didn't know how much uncertainty he could take and realized he had to come up with a plan. A dangerous plan, that was. Harry decides to go to the GPS location, hours before he is supposed to be there. He brings a police detective, dressed like a citizen. They manage to take Iris and arrest the abductors. Harry receives his savings again, and he lives many happy years with his daughter back in his arms.